Good day, everyone. For this presentation, we will be talking about the nursing theorist Dorothy E. Johnson and her contributions to the nursing world. We are the Group 3, composed of Dacalos, Dagumbal, and Dalen. This would be the flow of the presentation. First would be her biography, which includes her early life, education, career and appointments, works, awards and honors, and death. Second would be the overview, which includes the behavioral system model and 7 behavioral subsystems. Lastly would be the meta-paradigm, which includes major concepts, sub-concepts, and the 4 meta-paradigm of the model. Dorothy E. Johnson's biography. Dorothy Johnson was born on August 21, 1919 in Savannah, Georgia. She was the youngest of 7 children, and her father was the superintendent of a shrimp and oyster factory, while her mother was very involved and enjoyed reading. She was born a decade before the Great Depression, which was an event that had a great impact on her life. In 1938, she completed an associate degree from Armstrong Junior College, but after that, because of finances due to the Great Depression, she took a year off from academic studies and became a governess for 2 children in Miami, Florida. It was during this time that she had decided on a career that would encompass nursing, children, and education. Dorothy Johnson's professional nursing career began in 1942 when she graduated from Vanderbilt University School of Nursing in Nashville, Tennessee, receiving a Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree. She was the top student in her class and received the prestigious Vanderbilt Founders Medal. In this picture, it shows the Vanderbilt University School of Nursing class of 1942 with Dorothy Johnson on the back row, second from left. She went on to earn a master's degree in public health from Harvard University of Boston, Massachusetts in 1948. After graduation, Dorothy Johnson's professional experiences involved mostly teaching, although she was a staff nurse at the Chatham-Savannah Health Council from 1943 to 1944. She was also an instructor and an assistant professor in pediatric nursing at Vanderbilt University School of Nursing. From 1949 until her retirement in 1978 and her subsequent move to Key Largo, Florida, her career path led her to California, where she taught at the University of California, Los Angeles, or UCLA School of Nursing. During her career there, she was an assistant professor of pediatrics, an associate professor of nursing, and a professor of nursing. Between 1955 and 1956, she took a year of sabbatical and was a pediatric nursing advisor, teaching at the Christian Medical College School of Nursing in Vellore, South India. From 1965 to 1967, she served as chairperson on the committee of the California Nurses Association that developed a position statement on specifications for the clinical specialist. Dorothy Johnson was a prolific writer on the subject of nursing theory. Her many publications on this subject profoundly influenced theoretical thinking in nursing during the second half of the 20th century. Johnson's publications include 4 books, more than 30 articles in periodicals, and many papers, reports, proceedings, and monographs. She held a strong conviction that continuing improvement of care was the ultimate goal of nursing. Her 1968 paper, entitled One Conceptual Model of Nursing, is a classic contribution to nursing literature. 2 of the many works written by Johnson include Theory Development, What, Why, How, and Barriers and Hazards in Counseling. Of the many honors she received, Dorothy Johnson was the proudest of the 1975 Faculty Award from graduate students, the 1977 Lulu Hassenplug Distinguished Achievement Award from the California Nurses Association, and the 1981 Vanderbilt University School of Nursing Award for Excellence in Nursing. Dorothy Johnson retired on 1978. She died in February 1999 at the age of 80. Before she died, she was pleased that her theory had been found useful in furthering the development of a theoretical basis for nursing, and was being used as a model for nursing practice on an institution-wide basis. However, she reported that her greatest source of satisfaction came from following the productive careers of her students. Dorothy Johnson was an educator during the time of transition in nursing education. Nursing schools were evolving from hospital-based, three-year diploma schools to four-year university programs. Johnson and her colleague, Lulu K. Hasenflug, founded the first four-year generic basic nursing program in the United States during their years at UCLA. Nursing students were receiving better education and not just being looked upon as free labor. They were being educated in the sciences and being prepared to deliver better nursing care. This was the optimum time for Johnson to receive encouragement and funding for the development of her theory. Next is the behavioral system model.
Overview of Dorothy Johnson's behavioral system model. Dorothy Johnson's theory defined nursing as an external regulatory force which acts to preserve the organization and integration of the patient's behavior at an optimum level under those conditions in which the behavior constitutes a threat to the physical or social health or in which illness is found. Dorothy Johnson is known for her behavioral system model of nursing, which was first proposed in 1968. Her nursing model states that each individual has patterned, purposeful, repetitive ways of acting that compromises a behavioral system specific to that individual. It advocates the fostering of efficient and effective behavioral functioning in the patients to prevent illness. The patient is defined as a behavioral system composed of seven behavioral subsystems: affiliative, dependency, ingestive, eliminative, sexual, aggressive, and achievement. Each subsystems also has three functional requirements, which include protection from noxious influence, provision for a nurturing environment, and stimulation for growth. An imbalance in each system results in disequilibrium. The nurse's role is to help the patient maintain his or her equilibrium. The seven behavioral subsystem of the patient. First is the attachment or affiliative subsystem. Attachment or affiliative subsystem is the social inclusion, intimacy, and the formation and attachment of a strong social bond. It is probably the most critical because it forms the basis for all social organization. On a general level, it provides survival and security. Second is the dependency subsystem. Dependency subsystem is the approval, attention, or recognition and physical assistance. In the broadest sense, it promotes helping behavior that calls for a nurturing response. Third is the ingestive subsystem. Ingestive subsystem is the emphasis on the meaning and structures of the social events surrounding the occasion when the food is eaten. It should not be seen as the input and output mechanism of the system. Fourth is the eliminative subsystem. Eliminative subsystem states that human cultures have defined different socially acceptable behaviors for excretion of waste, but the existence of such pattern remains different from culture to culture. It addresses when, how, and under what conditions we eliminate. Fifth is the sexual subsystem. Sexual subsystem is both a biological and social factor that affects behavior. It has the dual function of procreation and gratification, including but not limited to courting and mating. This response system begins with the development of gender role identity and includes the broad range of sex role behavior. The sixth is the aggressive subsystem. Aggressive subsystem relates to the behavior concerning protection and self-preservation, generating a defense response when there is a threat to life or territory. Its function is protection and preservation. And the seventh is the achievement subsystem. Achievement subsystem provokes behavior that tries to control the environment. It attempts to manipulate the environment. Its function is control or mastery of an aspect of self or environment to some standard of excellence. This subsystem is interrelated with the other and environment and specific structural elements and functions that help maintain the integrity of the behavioral system. Through this, the focus of her model is with what the behavior the person is presenting, making the concept more attuned with the psychological aspect of care in. When the behavioral system has balance and stability, the individual's behaviors will be purposeful, organized, and predictable. Imbalance and instability in the behavioral system occur when tensions and stressors affect the relationship of the subsystem, or the internal and external environments.
The following are the major concepts and definitions of the Johnson's nursing model. In behavioral system, man is a system that indicates the state of the system through behaviors. System functions as a whole by virtue of organized independent interaction of its parts. Subsystem is a mini-system maintained in relationship to the entire system when it or the environment is not disturbed. The following are the sub-concepts and definitions in the Johnson's nursing model. Structure: the parts of the system that make up the whole. Variables: factors outside the system that influence the system's behavior but which the system lacks power to change. Boundaries: the point that differentiates the interior of the system from the exterior. Homeostasis: it is the process of maintaining stability. Stability is balance or steady state in maintaining balance of behavior within an acceptable range. Stressor: a stimulus from the external or internal world that results in stress or instability. Tension: the system's adjustment to demands change or growth or to actual disruptions. Instability is the state in which the system output of energy depletes the energy needed to maintain stability. Set is the predisposition to act. It implies that having only a few alternatives from which to select a behavioral response, the individual will rank those options and choose the option considered most desirable. Function is the consequences or purposes of action. The following are Johnson's definition for its nursing meta-paradigm. First is human beings. Johnson views human beings as having two major systems, the biological and behavioral system. It is the role of medicine to focus on the biological system, while nursing focus on the behavioral system. The concept of human being was defined as a behavioral system that strives to make continual adjustments to achieve, maintain, or regain balance to the steady state that is adaptation. Second, environment. Environment is not directly defined, but it is implied to include all elements of the surroundings of the human system, and it includes interior stressors. Third is health. Health is seen as the opposite of illness, and Johnson defines it as some degree of regularity and constancy in behavior. The behavioral system reflects adjustments and adaptations that are successful in some way and to some degree. Adaptation is functionally efficient and effective. Lastly is nursing. Nursing is seen as an external regulatory force which acts to preserve the organization and integration of the patient's behavior at an optimal level under those conditions in which the behavior constitutes a threat to physical or social health or in which illness is found.
These are the references we used for this presentation. Again, this was Group 3 of Dacalos, Dagumbal, and Dalen. We hope you learned a lot about Dorothy Johnson and her behavioral system model. Thank you for listening.